Miss Paula, you there? How are you? Doing good. This is Angie. This is Sarah. So I have you on speakerphone, but we're not quite started.
Me and you and your husband and you. You remember up there in the bridge where there's a structure and a line like this, down to this. All right. This line actually goes this way, and then that way. So we hurt ourselves a little bit, but that gives us more room. And what this means is beginning upon this property line, blah, 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 set more or less. This line should form the center line of a 20-foot permanent easement or a 20-foot temporary easement. I'll let you explain that, you to him. Understand that instead of one straight line, we have an angle which helps us on the outside. But there is a 20-foot easement that's 10 foot each side of the sewer line, where you can't put a house or anything there. And there's another 10 foot on that. You know, we might could put a little bit on that. So we'll talk about this later. This is follow that right there.
Miss Paula, yeah. It is 6:00 and we'll open the public hearing for Jerome Parchment. And for any comments from the floor, yes. Jerome Parchment was placed an RV trailer on property located on Spring Street. It's tax map 020J, parcel 2.00. So I'd like to open it up to the floor to make comments for or against, or if there will be any comments. Yes.
I'm Charles Blake, it's my wife Phyllis. What, part,
Can you
we
walk
own
over here?
property
Yeah,
adjacent.
can you walk over here so we can hear you,
I
if
think
you don't
that's
mind?
right.
Yeah.
I'm Charles Blake, I'm property owner up there.
Uh-huh.
And my wife and I have known Jerome and Bobby and him for 21 years since we moved down here. And I don't think there's a finer young man in the county than Jerome.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now that property already has water and sewer, you'll just have to make.
They have the water, they don't have the sewer
Oh, is
yet.
it? Okay.
But it is,
Available.
but
It is available.
Is available.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna speak on their behalf too, because I'm property owner that joins them and Mr. Flex too. I don't have no problem. You can put the truck on there. Setting up a place to live. I don't have no issues with. You can do it to another joint property.
Any other comments from board members, from the members of the zoning field? There are no other, comments. We can close this meeting. Oh, do you have a, by the way, do you have, sign in for these people? Okay. So if there are no additional comments, I will close the, public hearing on the Jerome Parchment property. And now I will open, we have a second, public hearing, and that is for Guadalupe Boys to place a mobile home on property located at McMillan Street, tax map 019M, parcel 8.0. And I'll open the floor for comments and explanations on the property, but that was more complicated. If you need to explain anything on this yet?
We'll wait till we get into the meeting specific for that.
Okay. So is there anybody here for, or?
I will say, under the same guidings, you can't have a trailer inside the city limits of Durham if you come before this board, the planning commission, and this board have a public hearing and listen for pros and cons. So it sounds like we have neither one, but that is the way that it works for a trailer inside city limits here on both counts.
If there are no additional comments or requests during this public hearing, I will close this public hearing also. And then we will officially open the Board of Zoning Appeals. And I would like to call that meeting to order. I would like a roll call of the board, please.
Betsy Legan.
Here.
Paula Skelton. Here. Brian Richardson.
Here.
James Parchman.
Here.
Faye Sanders.
Here.
Philip Powell.
Present.
We'll approve the minutes. If you will look at the last Board of Zoning Appeals was November 21st, 2019. So we need to approve the public hearing and the Board of Zoning Appeals minutes. Is there a second?
I second.
Then the motion is to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries, those minutes are approved. We also need to elect new officers. So I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that also remain the same every year.
Let's let Paul open that, and then you step
Okay.
aside and let Paul.
Yes, that's a good idea.
All right, well, there has been a motion made for the officers to remain the same as the previous year. Is there a second for that?
That's it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion does carry, and I'll turn it back over to Ms. Betsy Lee.
So our new business, the first, order of business is the Jerome Parchment to place a RV trailer on the property located on Spring Street. Anyone have any other comments on that?
Other than for the public that was not here at the last meeting, we had a pretty good understanding of, there's a number of items where it says that it can't be, but precedent has been set. Back in the late nineties, that I call it due to a hardship. Example, the person had nowhere to go to get in and out of the elements, and it was granted that. So we set a precedence that a trailer, RV, can be put on residential property. I'd like, it so happens this RV trailer is a new RV trailer. Is that right, Mr. Parson?
It's not brand new, but, you know, it's not new.
But it looks new from the road.
Yeah.
And, you know, in the future, I think an item like what kind of shape is the trailer in needs to be a major focus. That trailer would improve the area that my house is on. It's that clean and it's just neat. It don't have a big, you know, gooseneck and all this, but in the future, when we come to items like this, I think it would be advantageous for the board to remember that we are speaking for the whole purpose of zoning is to put proper things in proper places and not do something that would hinder the market value of a structure by doing something, you know, putting an old 1954 Coleman model trailer there as an example. So, you know, we're fortunate that the last meeting, except for one, has the same members. So the motion was made to pass it on and seconded. All in favor to this board. So I have nothing negative to say. It's, they know as much about it as I do. If it does pass, if it passes, I've done talked to Mr. Parchman. We're gonna get together and take our zoning setbacks up there and try to make sure that we meet the setbacks or meet in chapter 12, it talked about in an older existing neighborhood where the houses have already, you know, been in a line and it like set back from the right of way 30 foot before the front porch. Well, that might not be 30 foot up there because that's already an existing neighborhood with houses like that. So me and Mr. Parson will get together on a pretty day, maybe, and go about that if this passes.
I'd like to reflect on what we just did, the public hearing were all positive comments from surrounding property owners and neighbors. So I would entertain at this time a motion, what the board of zoning appeals would like to do.
I'm gonna make a motion that we accept it and allow. parking for every-
We have, is there a second?
I said,
The motion's been made and seconded to approve, the Board of Appeals improvement for this placement. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. You got that? So, the second order of business is, the mobile home placement on property on McMillan Street by Guadalupe. Boyzo. there were some, placement issues on this. So, Edie, would you? And I'll reflect on this, let me just add that, on the public hearing, there were no positive and negative, comments.
Once again, the same members that are in this meeting was the same members of the planning commission that we talked. This time, we have a young lady that's gonna help me understand what he says and help him understand what I say. She's probably gonna have more trouble with me than she is him. But, the only difference is between the two is that Mr. Borzos is has property of, 1, 2, 3, 4 different parcels. One parcel is completely in the floodway, and on the other 3 parcels of all 3 of them are on the floodway. Those parcels were there and structured there when in the late 80s, I think is what it is, the city adopted the zoning ordinance. And we talked about it last meeting. That structure that's there is actually sitting on 2 different lots. And since there's only one principal building on any residential lot, neither one of those lots can have a trailer on it. And it worked out well. Lot 8, which is to the left, you're going up McMillan Street towards Shamrock Apartments. It's the big lot on the right. I have met with Mr. Bozo and the young lady and the young lady's husband up there after the planning commission meeting, and it's sort of close quarters, but we were measuring right of ways 30 foot from the edge of the right of way in different places, and I'd like to say, if you can let him know what I'm saying, that all we had, Mr. Baggett had told me, were 1 manhole and 1 access hole for cleaning was. I made an assumption because I didn't know that the sewer line was a straight line shot from one to the other. So I went to the courthouse. It's got a permanent easement on it for the city for the sewage. I went to the courthouse and asked them to pull that up. You can see here, what we did was try to measure, this is McMillan Street. This is the sewer line. I went to this and walked a straight line to this manhole here. And, right here was where it was pretty tight. But after I got this is an angle back to here, and then it parallels McMillan Street. So we actually had a little bit more room than we thought we did on that left-hand side. But there is a 20-foot easement immediately over the sewer line, 10 foot either way. That's a permanent easement. And then there's a temporary easement where they've got leaks, holes, breakage, whatever. Another 10-foot easement onto that. So from the center line, 20 foot either way, where they can drive heavy equipment, backhoes, and whatever they need to do to get there to fix the leak. The permanent easement, we don't need any part of your trailer on it. And so here's what I tried to do. So many people get the cart before the horse and spend money, and then when they get to the end, find out they can't do it. So I wrote this out, give a copy to Mr. Gorzo, and I just give the young lady one, and it's more in line step by step rather than just a shotgun effect. Spend no money to have the board of zoning appeals meeting. Items to do now is determine McMillan Street right of way onto property. Determine McMillan Street front yard minimum requirements. That's what we was trying to do the other day. Determine location of sewer easement. That's what I did when I went to the courthouse. If all is approved after public hearing and board of zoning appeals meeting, you need to have a state of Tennessee licensed surveyor determine the floodplain estimated flood level plus 1 foot of freeboard. That would allow 1 foot, which would be the top floor in the structure. Have the surveyor to mark that level and keep copy of document. I've got to have that. Then have a knowledgeable trailer person, somebody that does this for a living, to verify it can be done by their guidelines before you purchase land and trailer. It's too late if you buy it, and then it takes 20 blocks high to get you above, and they tell you we can't put a trailer that high. So try to keep it in that sequence where when it gets to the end, he hasn't spent a pile of money and still can't do it. You see what I'm getting at? Does everybody else see what I'm getting at? So if this is positive, depending on this board, the next step would be get a call for 811. Don't never forget that. 811, they'll come up there and they'll mark where the sewer line is on the grass. You won't have to think, you won't have to guess where it's at. They'll mark underground gas, underground electrical, underground telephone, whatever's underground. If you get an 811 and they didn't find it, didn't mark it, you tear it in two, you probably won't have to pay for it. But if you tear it in two and don't get an 811, you will have to pay for it. That's all I need to say.
Okay. So, any questions from the board on this? Then I'd like to hear a motion, as what y'all are approved.
I make a motion that you be allowed to put the trailer there as long as you meet all the criteria.
Is there a second?
Second.
So, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Very good. So these are both approved. That was conditional, all those criteria being met. And, these will go then before the council, right? Will council,
Pardon me?
this will be on the, planning commission's report to the council.
No, I just give him permission to put the trailer.
Put it there. Okay,
It don't have to go. before the
just as
council.
more of an announcement.
Yeah. But word should be passed back to, for the record, to the planning commission meeting that y'all approved.
Yes, okay. Very good. Then, there's no other business. This meeting will be adjourned.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion, carries, unanimously, and the meeting is adjourned. Very good. Congratulations.
Thank y'all for coming.
No problem, buddy.
Who's gonna do that?
Bobby, I ain't had a fight tonight.
Ah.